Today's topics are: number 1, drift of electrons and the origin of resistivity. Number 2, mobility. Number 3, limitations of Ohm's law. Number 4, resistivity of various materials. And number 5, temperature dependence of resistivity, along with the illustrated numericals. New topic: drift of electrons and the origin of resistivity. In the case of metals, an electron will suffer collisions with the heavy fixed ions. Heavy fixed ions, that is positive ions, which are stationary in the metal, not mobile. Then after collisions, the electrons will move in random directions with the same speed. Their average velocity will be 0 because their directions are random. Now at a given time, we get the equation of the velocity of the electron denoted by small vi, that is 1 upon n sigma vi equal to 0, where I ranges from 1 to capital N. The equation has been tick marked. Now we consider the situation when an electric field is present. Then electrons will be accelerated due to this field, given by A is equal to minus E upon m. Why? Because we have the standard equation of acceleration, A equal to F upon m, and F is equal to force due to electric field, which is equal to charge multiplied by electric field intensity, so equal to, and electronic charge is minus, so equal to minus small e into capital E. Therefore A is equal to minus E upon m, where minus E is the electronic charge and m the mass of the electron. So now if we consider the velocity vi, that is vi capital denoted by capital letter, at time t, then it will be capital Vi equal to small vi plus minus E upon m into Ti. Why? Because from the standard equation of motion, V equal to V0 plus At, here instead of V0 we have the initial velocity Vi, and A value we have substituted from above, so we get this equation, which has again been tick marked. Now we refer this figure of the random directions of the electron and showing the drift velocity possessed by the electron in the presence of the electric field. Now here in this particular diagram, that is this one, the electron travels from direction A to B randomly, zigzag direction, and the darkened line is shown in the absence of electric field, while the dotted line is shown in the presence of electric field. So the effective displacement B dash of the electron, which has been shown by the curvature here in the diagram, which I have marked, and EF means electric field. So on repeated collisions of the electrons, the electron moves from point A to another point B through repeated collisions, that is full lines, and the electron ends up at point B dash, that is dotted line, that is slight drift in a direction. We have the slight drift in a direction, that is from B to B dash. This effective displacement possessed by the electron and at the velocity possessed by the electron at that time during this effective displacement B dash is called drift velocity. Now this drift velocity is opposite to the electric field. Drift velocity B dash is shown on the right hand side, and E vector in the figure is in the left direction, the arrow pointing towards the left direction. So the direction of drift velocity is opposite to that of the electric field, that is electric field intensity. Now from those two equations we go ahead. Say now let us denote the average time between two successive collisions denoted by tau. Then at a given time, some of the electrons would have spent time more than tau, while some would have spent less than tau. Next point. So the average value of Ti, which we have seen in the previous equation, will now be substituted as tau, known as relaxation time. So therefore we have Vd, which denotes the drift velocity, is equivalent to Vi capital average equal to Vi small average minus E upon m into Ti average, which is equal to, now from the standard equation of motion, that is V equal to V0 plus At, and now V0 equal to 0. So substituting V0 equal to 0 in the above equation, we get this is equal to 0 minus E upon m into tau, which is equal to minus E upon m into tau, which has been tick marked, equation 3.17. And this velocity Vd in the above equation is known as drift velocity. Now because of the drift, there will be net transport of charges across any area perpendicular to E. Now we consider a planar area A. We refer this figure. And in the figure, area A is shown. Conductor is a metallic conductor is taken in the form of a hollow cylinder, and electrons are moving from left to right, while the direction of electric field is shown from right to left in the opposite direction. Now here delta x equal to Vd delta t. Why? Because we have displacement equal to velocity into time, d equal to Vt. Here d instead of d, that is L, small l, that is length of the cylinder. So that is therefore displacement delta x equal to Vd delta t. Now we again come to the description. So now we consider a planar area A located inside the conductor such that the normal to the area is parallel to E. Normal to the area is parallel to E. And during an infinite simul amount of time delta t, during an infinite simul amount of time delta t, all the electrons to the left of the area at distances up to Vd delta t would have crossed this area. Now, considering this figure only, we go ahead. If n is the, that is small n, is the number of free electrons per unit volume in the metal, then electron carries h per unit volume, then there are n delta t mod Vd such electrons. Now, as electronic charge is minus E, therefore the total charge transported to the right in time delta t will be equal to minus Ne A mod Vd delta t, which has been tick marked. Why? Because in the above equation we have to multiply it by minus E, as the electronic charge is minus E. Now, the magnitude of the current, as per the definition of the current we have, because I equal to delta Q upon delta T, so cross multiplying I delta T, because the electronic charge which we are considering in the above equation, so we get I delta T equal to plus Ne A mod Vd delta T. Why minus E becomes plus? Because we are considering the magnitude of the current and magnitude of drift velocity mod Vd. So this equation 3.18, which has been tick marked, we get this. Now, substituting the value of Vd in this equation from above, that is, we already had the equation of Vd, which is equal to minus E upon m into tau, that is equation 3.17. We substitute here and we get, therefore I delta t equal to E, so small e multiplied by E, which will become E square A upon m tau and delta t into mod E. Now we substitute the value of I. Here, besides in the above paragraph, it has been written V volume of the cylinder equal to area into length. So we get the equation besides it, which has been tick marked. Now in this equation 3.19, we substitute the value of I, which is equal to mod J into A, and therefore we get mod J equal to Ne square upon m tau into mod E, which has been tick marked. Now, as J and E both are in same direction and parallel to each other, that is, J is parallel to E vector, vector J is parallel to vector E, and therefore in vector form the above equation becomes vector J equal to Ne square upon m into tau into E vector, equation 3.22. Now if we consider the conductivity denoted by sigma, then in the above equation, turns out to be like this, that is sigma equal to ne square upon m into tau, which has been tick marked and which is the final equation. Why? Because J equal to sigma E. So here in the above equation, J equal to sigma E, if we substitute, then E and E will cancel from both the sides, and therefore we get sigma equal to ne square upon m into tau. So this equation represents another form of Ohm's law. Here tau and n are constants which are independent of E. Now we go through example 3.1 based on this topic. 3 marks. Estimate the average speed of conduction electrons in a copper wire of cross sectional area 1 into 10 raised to minus 7 meter square, carrying a current of 1.5 ampere. Assume that each copper atom contributes roughly 1 conduction electron. The density of copper is 9 into 10 raised to 3 kilogram per meter cube, and its atomic mass is 63.5 U. Then B part is also there and C part is also there. B part is there, in which again 2 sub questions are there. Compare the drift speed obtained above with number 1, thermal speeds of copper atoms at ordinary temperatures, and number 2, speed of propagation of electric field along the conductor which causes the drift motion. Now we refer its solution. First A part. Now this description need not be written, but certain words you can write. The direction of drift velocity is opposite to the electric field direction, that is in the direction of increasing potential. Now we have the equation of drift velocity as Vd equal to I upon NA, the standard equation. Because why like this? Because I equal to NAE Vd. So making Vd as the subject of the equation, Vd equal to I upon NEA. Now in this we have to substitute the value. I value is given in the data, then A value is given in the data. E is the electronic charge which you have to remember by heart, that is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Now first we have to calculate the value of n and substitute in this equation. Now to calculate n from the data, since 6 into 10 raised to 23 copper atoms have a mass of 63.5 gram. So to calculate n will be equal to 6 into 10 raised to 23 upon 63.5. Now this 63.5 is given in gram, so convert in kilogram, kg, multiply by 10 raised to minus 3 in the denominator, which is not given here. You can take it down into 10 raised to minus 3, and this ratio multiply by 9 into 10 raised to 6. Why 6? 9 into 10 raised to 3 is given in the data. 9 into 10 raised to 3 kg has a mass of 9 into 10 raised to 3 kg, and 10 raised to minus 3 from the denominator goes above in the numerator, that is minus 3 becomes plus 3, so 3 plus 3 equal to 6, so into 9 into 10 raised to 6, which on simplification gives equal to 8.5 into 10 raised to 28 per meter cube, that is m raised to minus 3. Now this value of n we substitute in the above equation, so substituting all the values of I and E and A, that is area, we get VD equal to 1.5 upon 8.5 into 10 raised to 28 into 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 into 1 into 10 raised to minus 7. Substituting the values in the respective order, which is equal to 1.1 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter per second is the answer of drift velocity, which has been tick marked. Now this is again written as 1.1 millimeter per second. No need to write this. As such, why we get this? Because 10 raised to minus 3, 1 millimeter equal to 10 raised to minus 3 meter. So for 10 raised to minus 3, they have considered 1 millimeter. So this is equal to 1.1 millimeter per second. Answer. But as such, you should write only 1.1 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter per second, which is the answer. Now B part. We refer the question again. Compare the drift speed obtained above with number 1, thermal speeds of copper atoms at ordinary temperatures. Now thermal speeds of copper atoms. B1, we have the equation of thermal speed as 1/2 mv square average. This bracket is a special kind of bracket which denotes average 1/2 mv square, that is kinetic energy of the electron, which is equal to 3 by 2 kBT, where, and this on simplification gives equal to under root 3 kT upon m. So 3 is not taken into consideration and simply the variables are taken, that is kb whole under root kBT upon m, where T stands for absolute temperature and m for mass. Now at STP, that is temperature is taken 300 Kelvin, because 23 degrees centigrade plus 273 equal to 300 Kelvin, and substituting the values of Kb, that is Boltzmann's constant, and this temperature, and if we calculate the given mass, then it will turn out to be equal to about 2 into 10 raised to 2 meter per second, which has been tick marked. That is answer number 1. Now we have to compare this drift speed, compare this answer with the drift speed obtained in part A. So this, on comparison, we find that the drift speed of electrons is much smaller, about 10 raised to minus 5 times. How 10 raised to minus 5 times? Because drift speed which we have obtained here, it is in the order of 2 into 10 raised to 2, that is thermal speed, and the drift speed which was obtained is 1.1 into 10 raised to minus 3. So minus 3 plus here about 10 raised to minus 5 times, minus 5 plus 2, that will be equal to 10 raised to minus 3. Now part 2, that is second sub question. We have again to compare the drift speed with number 2, speed of propagation of electric field along the conductor which causes the drift motion. Now we refer its solution. Number 2, an electric field has a speed of an electromagnetic wave, whose standard value is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. Now hence the drift speed here, if we compare, is extremely small, that is smaller by a factor of 10 raised to minus 11. How 10 raised to minus 11? Because 10 raised to minus 11 plus 10 raised to 8, that is minus 11, 10 raised to minus 11 into 10 raised to 8, that is minus 11 plus 8, that comes out to be equal to 10 raised to minus 3 in the case of drift speed obtained above. 1.1 into 10 raised to minus 3. So hence here the drift speed is extremely small. So this illustration is over. Now we consider the next topic. That is mobility. In the case of metals, the mobile charge carriers are electrons, due to which conductivity arises, while in an ionized gas, the charge carriers are electrons and positive charge ions. Apart from electrons, there are positive charge ions, and in an electrolyte, both positive and negative ions. Now mobility is defined as the magnitude of drift velocity per unit electric field. Drift velocity per unit electric field is known as mobility, that is mu equal to mod Vd upon E, which has been tick marked. Now we substitute the value of Vd in this equation later on, and we come to the another equation. Now SI unit of mobility is meter square upon volt second, m square small m square upon capital V small s, and is 10 raised to 4 of the mobility in practical units, that is centimeter square upon volt second. Mobility is positive. Now in the above equation, that is 3.24, by substituting the value of Vd, that is because Vd equal to a tau, and a acceleration of the electron is given by E upon m. So this is equal to E tau E upon m, E upon m into tau. For A we have substituted E upon m. Now hence mobility, which is denoted by mu, equal to Vd upon E equal to the most simplified form equal to E tau upon m. Why? Because here in this original equation of mu from the definition, mu equal to mod Vd upon E and Vd equal to E upon m into tau. So E capital E electric field upon capital E will cancel away, and as a result we have mu equal to E upon m into tau, that is equal to E tau upon m, which has been tick marked. Now next topic, limitations of Ohm's law. There are materials and devices used in electric circuits where the proportionality of V and I, that is voltage and current, does not hold good. First limitation, A, V ceases to be proportional to I, which is shown in the graph here, which we refer. There are totally 3 graphs and 3 limitations. Here in the graph of V against I, V taken on y axis and I taken on x axis, the solid line refers for a good conductor, and here the dotted line, which is the general showing the linear dependence of V and I, but here in the case of solid line, from certain part of the graph deviates slightly, means V ceases to be proportional to I. Now next point, this relation between V and I also depends on the sign of V, means on reversing the direction of V does not produce a current of the same magnitude. Reversing V, we do not get the same current in the opposite direction, which we refer this in graph number 2, and this happens in the case of a diode. Diode is an electronic valve. Now in the graph of V against I, V taken on positive x-axis, V also shown -2 on negative x-axis, Y taken on y-axis, I is taken 1.5 milliampere in positive direction and I in microampere shown in negative y direction. Here positive direction MA, that is milliampere, is shown, and on the negative y-axis microampere mu A is shown, current in the order of microampere. Now we have seen that on reversing the current, here we do not get the same current, and on reversing the voltage, that we reverse the voltage as shown in the third quadrant, that as we change V, we do not get the same magnitude of I. In the case of first quadrant, we get the current almost about 1.5, while in the case of third quadrant we get the current of about 2, -2 is shown. Now next point and the last limitation, that is C. The relation between V and I is not unique. Not unique means there is more than one value of V for the same current. More than one value of V for the same current. And the example is GaAs means gallium arsenic. Here we can refer this in the third graph, that is this one. Here in this graph, in the beginning the linear relationship slightly up to the dotted line, then non-linear region, and then again in the decreasing portion, therefore it is called negative resistance region. So say at the peak we get the same value of current, for same current we get the more than one value of V. So limitations are over. Now next topic. Resistivity of various materials. Now metals have low resistivities. Low resistivities in the range of 10 raised to minus 8 ohm meter to 10 raised to minus 6 ohm meter. All these points can be referred as objectives. While insulators like ceramic, rubber and plastics have resistivities 10 raised to 18 times, 10 raised to 18 times greater than metals. While semiconductors have their resistivities in between the two. And in the case of semiconductors, resistivities decrease with rise in temperature. Their resistivities can be decreased by adding a small amount of suitable impurities. Resistivity of a semiconductor can be decreased by adding small amount of suitable impurities. We refer here, say resistivity at 0 degree centigrade and temperature coefficient of resistivity, that is denoted by alpha, whose unit is degree Celsius, degree centigrade whole inverse. Now here we simply want to show that the value of alpha is negative for semiconductors like carbon, germanium and silicon, all negative values, which has been bracketed. And the first value minus 0.0005, which is the lowest from these three, referring minus sign is important, which is for carbon. Now for insulators, in the case of hard rubber, the resistivity is in the order of 10 raised to 13 to 10 raised to 16 up to 10 raised to 16, quite high. Similarly, in the case of fused quartz, of the order of 10 raised to 16, both have been tick marked. That is for hard rubber and fused quartz, can be referred as objectives. Now, next point. There are two types of resistors used for domestic purpose. One is wire bound resistors and the other one is carbon resistors. Wire bound resistors are made by winding the wires of an alloy that is manganene, constantan and nichrome. You have to remember this as an objective. Why these materials are used? Because their resistivities are insensitive to temperature. Resistivity is insensitive to temperature, that is not affected, and the resistances are of wire bound resistors lie in the range of an ohm to a few hundred ohms. An ohm to a few hundred ohms. While resistors in the higher range are made mostly from carbon. For higher range, resistors are made from carbon. Now, next topic. This we need not refer. That is temperature dependence of resistivity. The resistivity of a metallic conductor is given by rho t equal to rho 0 into square bracket 1 plus alpha into bracket t minus t0, that is capital T and capital T0. The equation has been tick marked as an empirical formula which is not to be proved. This equation is valid for temperatures being not too large. Temperature should not be too large. Here alpha is called the temperature coefficient of resistivity and the dimension of alpha is temperature whole raised to minus 1. That is, you can take down here, not given here, degree Celsius whole raised to minus 1, or that is degree capital C whole raised to minus 1, or Kelvin whole raised to minus 1, that is capital K whole raised to minus 1. Next point. For metals, alpha is positive. Now, this equation, that is the empirical formula, can be studied from three graphs. He is used to study three graphs, that is the graph of rho t, that is rho versus capital T, that is absolute temperature, unit is Kelvin. We refer the first graph first. A graph of rho t plotted against T would be a straight line. At temperatures much lower than 0 degree C, the graph deviates considerably from a straight line. Graph deviates from a straight line. That is this figure, first graph, not this. All three graphs can be referred here. You see one by one at a time and then refer the description. First graph is of rho T versus capital T of copper. In the second, which is deviating from a straight line. In the second graph shown of nichrome, the graph is a straight line not passing from the origin and from y-axis at a certain point. While in the third graph, which is for a semiconductor, it is a curve referring that rho decreases with respect to temperature. Now we see the description one by one. Here in the first case, when the graph is plotted for rho T against T, it would be a straight line, but at temperatures much lower than 0 degree C, the graph deviates from a straight line, which is shown here. Slight deviation. Now, second one. So, the empirical formula, that is standard equation of rho T, can be used over a limited range of T around any reference temperature capital T0, around any reference temperature capital T0, where the graph can be approximated as a straight line. Here shown in the second graph, that is the graph does not pass from the origin, and considering the reference temperature T0 at certain temperature, which is called the critical temperature, that is reference temperature T0, the graph starts, that is the value of resistivity is not 0. The value of resistivity is not 0, and it starts from certain portion on y-axis, that is called y-intercept. Now in the last case, some materials like nichrome, which is an alloy of nickel, iron and chromium, they have weak dependence of resistivity with temperature, Hence, these materials are widely used in wire-bound resistors. The resistivities of semiconductors decrease with increasing temperature. Resistivity decrease with increase in temperature, which is shown in the third graph, rho versus T. The value of rho decreases with respect to T, which is denoted by a curve, and in the end it does not touch the x-axis, but it goes on decreasing and tends to 0. It does not touch x-axis, which you have to take note of. Now next point. The resistivity of a material is given by rho equal to 1 upon sigma, because resistivity is the reciprocal of conductivity. conductivity denoted by sigma. So this is equal to m upon n square tau. M upon n square tau. Why? Because we had already derived the equation of sigma in the previous topic, that is sigma equal to n square upon m into tau. So here rho will be equal to m upon n square tau. Now from this equation we study the effect of temperature on the resistivity of a material, that is in the case of metals. Later on we see. First we refer the description and then I have written besides the equation as short study reckoner. First we refer the description here. As we increase temperature, then average speed of electrons will increase, resulting in more frequent collisions. Hence, the average time, that is tau, decreases with temperature. Here in metal, n is not dependent on temperature, and as tau decreases, causes rho to increase. Hence, in equation 3.27, I have stated besides that as capital T, that is temperature, increases, upper arrow indicates increase in temperature, and lower arrow, that is arrow pointing in the downward direction, increases, decrease. So as temperature increases, as capital T increases, implies tau decreases, that is relaxation time decreases, and as rho and tau inversely proportional, so therefore rho increases, that is as T increases implies tau decreases and rho increases. Next point, this was in the case of metals. Now for insulators and semiconductors, the value of n increases with temperature and hence rho decreases with temperature. Why rho decreases with temperature? Because n comes in the denominator. So rho inversely proportional to n. So rho proportional to 1 upon n, and as n increases, rho decreases with temperature. Now next point. So this effect of resistivity with respect to temperature is over, and now we refer the illustrated example, that is example 3.3 for 3 marks. An electric toaster uses nichrome for its heating element. When a negligibly small current passes through it, its resistance at room temperature 27.0 degrees Celsius is found to be 75.3 ohm. When the toaster is connected to a 230 volt supply, the current settles after a few seconds to a steady value of 2.68 ampere. What is the steady temperature of the nichrome element? Here given again that the temperature coefficient of resistance of nichrome averaged over the temperature range involved is 1.70 into 10 raised to minus 4 degrees Celsius inverse. Now here we refer the solution. We have to find out the steady temperature of nichrome element, that is of the filament. Steady temperature. To calculate steady temperature, description need not be written. Here the resistance R2 at steady temperature T2, R2 at steady temperature T2. This we have to calculate after heating effect of current. After heating effect of current. So R2 equal to 230 upon 2.68. Why? Because R equal to V upon I, standard formula, and substituting the value of V and I from the data, we get this is equal to 85.8 ohms. Now from the empirical formula, that is the standard relation, R2 equal to R1 into bracket square bracket 1 plus alpha T2 into 1 plus alpha into bracket T2 minus T1 bracket over. Now alpha value has been given. Substituting the value of alpha in this equation and R2 value which we have calculated 85.8 and R1 75.3 given in the data. So making T2 minus T1 as the subject of the equation, we get T2 minus T1 equal to 85.8 minus 75.3 upon 75.3 into 1.70 into 10 raised to minus 4, which is the value of alpha. This on simplification we get equal to 820 degree Celsius, which has been underlined. Therefore T2 equal to 820 plus 27 degree Celsius, because 27 is given in the data. So this is equal to 847 degree Celsius, which has been tick marked as the final answer. Here it has been written that when heating effect due to the current equals heat loss, the steady temperature is equal to 847 degree Celsius when heating effect due to the current equals heat loss to the surroundings. Now next example, that is 3.4. And the last one. Example 3.4. The resistance of the platinum wire of a platinum resistance thermometer at the ice point is 5 ohm and at steam point is 5.23 ohm. When the thermometer is inserted in a hot bath, the resistance of the platinum wire is 5.795 ohm. Calculate the temperature of the bath. We refer its solution. Here R0 equal to 5 ohms, that is initial resistance of the platinum wire, and at steam point means it is taken as R100 equal to 5.23 ohm, and the resistance of the platinum wire given in the data when inserted in a hot bath, that is denoted by RT equal to 5.795 ohm. So now from the standard formula of temperature of standard formula, T equal to small t equal to RT minus R0 upon R100 minus R0 into 100, which you have to learn by heart. And RT equal to R0 into 1 plus alpha T, and RT equal to R0 into bracket 1 plus alpha T. Bracket is important, which has been tick marked. So now substituting the values of RT, R0, R100 and R0 again in the denominator respectively. So this is equal to 5.795 minus 5 upon 5.23 minus 5 into 100. So on simplification we get this is equal to 0.795 upon 0.23. This is the simplification of the above ratio, and this is multiply by 100. Now this is equal to, this on final simplification gives equal to 345.65 degree Celsius. So therefore temperature of the bath denoted by small t equal to 345.65 degree Celsius, which is the final answer. And that's all for today.